we just after Simply Comedy.
Yeah.
How are you feeling after the long format open mic, the long mic? Oh yeah. Thanks, yeah. We're here at Call Up Time. Basically, we're a podcast, talk about comedians before or after comedy shows. So we just want to see what's, we just talk.
Yeah.
And see how we feel about comedy shows or even before going out. I'm Daniel Sham. This is James Soo.
Hello.
And if you want to follow us, what's your Instagram or Facebook handle?
It's James KL Soo.
James KL Soo. If you want to follow him, he does a lot of puns. I have a love-hate relationship whenever I go into his page. And I am Daniel Sham Comedy. So follow us on Call Up Time. We just after our show and Simply Comedy. What do you feel after the show?
Been a while since I did more than 10 minutes. Yeah. But yeah, it felt good. Warming up the crowd, and also one of the audience members was actually my friend from primary and secondary school.
Which one?
The lady May.
Oh.
Yeah. It was small. We haven't met in probably 10, 15 years or even more than it, because she migrated to Canada.
Was it pure coincidence that she came, or did she saw your poster?
Pure coincidence.
Oh, crazy.
They were just walking around the mall, not sure what to do,
Yeah.
and then there was.
People you meet at comedy, huh?
Yeah.
It's your first time doing comedy, which is the pun competition, right?
Yes, correct.
So you did a pun competition. Do tell us more about the pun competition. I don't want to talk about it because
obviously organize it, but how I got to know it was was during lunch break. I was just scrolling on Facebook, suddenly say, pun competition. It's okay, I probably tell puns to friends or colleagues, but I never thought about performing on stage. And then I think I messaged you, and then next thing you know, I met Publica, a few of my friends.
Yeah.
But then there were even some friends who didn't even know I was participating. And then I just enjoyed, and then from there actually got to know about the local comedy scene. I think Brian and Prakash were performing in between the
set.
The set while
at the end normally, right?
Normally it's the end, while the judges are tabulating the results.
Yeah.
And then it's one mic stand, Malaysia actually got local comedy scene. And it's okay, gotta check it out.
Check it out. That's my gateway, because I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. And then I did, and then I get to know a lot of people from One Mic Stand. At that point was House Comedy Club and various places, and it's interesting to get to know them and learn about the whole community in a sense. So what was the jump from puns to comedy? Why did you make that switch?
I just thought wanted to explore more, and then after watching one of the open mics at One Mic Stand, I thought okay, I should give this a try. And I think about June 2017, there was a comedy workshop at Crack House Comedy Club by this UK comedian called Nick Coppin. So I actually met a few of the comedians Nicholas, Aaron Barber, Juliana, Shark, Reisman. Then after I thought okay, I planned the workshop, got some basics, I should at least try it once, see how it goes. And I signed up for 2 open mics on that week. One of it was One Mic Stand, and the second was The Laughing Gas.
Oh yeah, The Laughing Gas as well. Shout out to Fiona, Shaq, and James.
Yes, one of the showrunners for The Laughing Gas.
So your experience. Your experience in doing puns. Okay, I know puns can be quite. It's not. I wouldn't. It's funny. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Whether it's a good or a bad pun, it's funny to me. But then, do you feel like there's sometimes a disconnect between an audience and puns? Let's say, for example, because when I did the pun competition, everybody going in knows it's a pun competition. Correct. But if you do it in a stand-up comedy setting, people don't know what they're gonna get. So when you did puns for stand-up comedy, was it hard to connect to the audience, or you just do puns?
For me, I just perform as it is. Like, of course, I know it's a risk I take because, again, depending on like language proficiency, like if you understand, wordplay, then you get it. If not, then yeah, you probably missed it. Yeah, and you probably by the time you explain it, they're still lost, and they're like, okay, yeah, you know what? Like some will get it, some won't get it.
You did hosting just now.
Yeah.
Was it hard to? I mean, you've done puns. You just keep on doing your jokes. Was it hard to make that transition in hosting to try to connect to the audience?
Initially, yeah, it is like nerve wracking because you're like talking to strangers and trying to at the same time trying to like dig information which will benefit like the rest of the comedians, but at the same time, like I remember like someone mentioning about like hosting, like the thing of hosting is like how you actually would host an event at your place or party. So the same way like how you actually will interact with the audience. So eventually it's like just like being myself. I want to make sure like the audience are comfortable. They have a good time and then pass it off to the comedians.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my first hosting gig, it was very nerve-wracking. And I did it at the pun competition, which is like, oh my God, 300 people just coming for puns. Ugh.
So it's like a big event, like 300 people turning up to listen to puns.
Oh my God.
And then you have all sorts of reaction, like from like laughs and cheers to groanings.
Yeah, that's the thing what I like about the pun competition. There's no silence.
Yeah.
It's just laughter or groaning, and that's it.
There's no in between.
There's no in between, because I know in comedy, there is this like pause, and you need to be able to know when is your punchline with that pause itself, when to pause, how to pause. For puns, is it something similar as that as well? Because I know puns is set up punchline, which is like the normal joke format.
Yeah.
But puns there's 3 to 4 layers of it.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the pauses help you or it doesn't?
I think it helps, like especially like of course like for myself to know like okay, this is the punchline, but at the same time also like the audience know like okay,
He
like
can't stop.
yeah.
Punchline.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
I mean, it gives them time to like process like okay, like this is the build up, and then like okay, this is the pun or the joke. So I feel like the pauses does help.
Okay. I mean, going back to puns, is it something that you are trying to get out from, or are you continuing doing puns?
I'm still doing puns, just now changing to a different medium, like on like TikTok and Instagram Reels, because those are like couple of seconds, and it's just like quick one-off. Whereas like in stand-up, I do incorporate it, probably like not like just one-liners, but it's like integrated into part of a bit or a set.
Okay. So, what's the main difference that you first did pun competition, and the second, which is immediately an open mic?
Yeah.
Was the reaction something that you were taken back from the audience reaction for stand-up comedy?
I think for stand-up was I'll probably say like, because of the way how like the host, I think Brian was the host at that time, so the way how it's set up, so like audience were more receptive, like because like first someone trying out comedy for the first time, so more like supportive, whereas like probably a couple of times later, then it's no longer being introduced as a newbie, and then that's the time like okay, are you really like good? And at times I think probably I bomb in between because trying to figure out. I think like even like my first 7 open mics, I was doing 7 completely different materials.
Whoa.
Yeah. Until someone told me like, oh, you have to like polish and develop that one material instead of trying to just do purely new stuff. So like I guess along the way learn like you need to come out with new material, but at the same time you also have to grow and develop your existing material.
So talking about that, from the first time you did stand-up comedy until now, is there anything that is changed in your material? Sorry, I think I'm repeating myself. I had a question just now and it just slipped my mind. When you first started out, until you get, let's say, where every comedian strive for a weekend show.
Yeah.
So when you did puns only, was there like a uphill battle to climb for if you're just doing puns to get to a weekend show?
I think it is an uphill battle, at least maybe in Malaysia, because again, puns is not really like common as compared to, say, if you do it in the UK. So of course, over time is to continue to evolve. To evolve the way how I do things. But that doesn't mean I stop doing puns. I just do it in a different way. I integrate it in my material. Eventually, going to open mics to polish my material. And I think during the pandemic,
you got your first
weekend show at Crack House Comedy Club.
Yeah, I was so jealous. I was like, God damn it. God damn it. Yeah, my first weekend show was like 7 years.
7 years.
My first, 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I first got my weekend show 7 years after my first open mic. So that's a really long time. So, I mean, you didn't give up. I gave up halfway. But then, what's going through your mind when you continuously tell yourself, this is going to pay off, this is going to pay off for a weekend show? Was there a time that you had to convince yourself to go on stage?
I think you just have to keep going. Of course, you asked, were there times that I probably questioned? Yeah, I probably questioned myself, saying how come other people are getting spots on the weekend shows, and then I'm still struggling to even get 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then, but eventually it was while waiting for that opportunity to come over, getting called by comedy clubs to do the weekend spot, why not come up with our own show? So at that time there was this program by LOL Asia. At that time they were not LOL events, so they partnered with Monty. So he used to do comedy and also teach comedy. So that was a workshop. So eventually, not only we learn about writing, performing, but also the business side of things, how to do marketing, how to put up shows. Then eventually it's decide to form a comedy group. So at that time we were known as Party Comedy Rakyat.
The Party Comedy Rakyat.
We were riding on the
affiliation. Nothing to do there. Not gonna go there.
Nothing to do with the other PKR, although we are the funnier one.
No, we're not gonna go there. Gonna cut this out. So I mean
Party Comedy Rakyat, but now
who was the members for it? I remember there's a core member and then it shifted, right?
Correct, core members. So myself, Juliana, Sharp, Abby. Eventually you have people like Faisal, Diana, Wendy, Saiful, Asta. Asta also was part of the original group. So all in probably about 10, 11. I think recently also King and also Siva Prakash also have joined us recently.
Oh, recently. Are you doing any shows soon?
We are planning our anniversary show in September.
Nice.
Because we started in September. And of course now we are no longer known as PKR or Party Comedy Rakyat. We're known as Gelak Comedy.
Oh yeah, Gelak Comedy. I've seen that Facebook shows.
More appealing for corporate shows.
More appealing for corporate, definitely. I mean, when you did you're basically show running your own show. So, what's your experience with show running? And have you show run and also host? What's your experience of that?
You need a team. You definitely need a team because you're multitasking, from social media, marketing, the lineup, liaising with the venue. You really need a team for that. Otherwise you'll burn out very fast.
That's why I think for my side, when I did Hapa Malaysia, I was never alone. But then I do manage the scene at the back, but I make sure I don't host. So whenever my shows are on, I will always give it to someone else because I can't run shows and host at the same time. And yeah, it's a very daunting task for me, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, now you have your experience in doing shows, running shows. Doing comedy, running shows. What's next for you? Do you want to like get an hour show, or like is it something you're working for?
I'm working to that. Actually, in 2022, I actually did like my first like solo show. It was about like 40 minutes. Yep. So I was like just trying to see like how much I can do. So doing an hour show is definitely in the plan. So probably next year. Yeah.
Probably next year. All right, cool. So the material you're doing today, that 20 minutes will be in that 1 hour show.
Yeah.
Okay. You got any idea who's gonna open for you?
Well, gotta stay tuned. We'll see. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you've been doing comedy for a really long time. I think, yeah. So what have you? What was the indication for you to be able to get to know that? Oh, okay, there's something funny there. I know puns is already like a immediate, but then people groan at the idea of it.
Yeah.
So what's your like switch? It's like, you know what, I'm still gonna do comedy, but at the same time I'm gonna do puns. What is your driving force for that?
I think it was just about like seeing people having a good time, you know, like even if it's just one person laughing, like okay, like you know, I made their day. And of course, eventually things have to change over time. Doesn't mean I have to like you know give up. Just do it in a different medium. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, like so, like you know, like puns, like just keep it to like Facebook, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and then like on stage, I try like do like material more related to who am I, like get people to know about myself. Because like there's only so much you can do, or rather, so much I can do about observation material, but yet people still wouldn't know about me. It's just like telling them how I see things.
I think that's where the I would say the jokes, but that's where the you have to cater your audience to be able to relate to the audience. And I think that's what most comedians, I feel like, I wouldn't want to point fingers, but I feel like some comedians just want to get a reaction. And I used to be guilty of that because I just wanted to have a reaction. And making them laugh is like a second thing for it. But then I feel like the only reason I was avoiding that was because that making them laugh is way more daunting than actually trying to like get a reaction, because you can get a reaction from anybody, but making them get a specific reaction, that's the hardest. And I know based on personal experience, I bombed a lot of times, and normally I have that sadness in my heart whenever I bomb. How do you cope with bombing when you're like, I'll say the first 2 years?
Within the first 2 years.
Because you were relentless. You were like going back. I want more. So I don't care if I bomb. I want to perform.
I guess like doing a post-mortem, I guess that's why now we always record our materials, especially the first few times listening back, it's like painful, cringy. You're like, I don't like my voice, or like, really, do I sound like that? But eventually it does give feedback, like, oh, okay, like, they're not responding, like, or maybe the way how I deliver it, or the way how I write it. So like workshopping the jokes with the comedians, so like, oh, okay, I could actually say it in a different way, or put like even more twist to it. And then it's like, okay, and because you want to keep on trying to see like, is it working? And then eventually once it works, it's like, okay, the effort pays off.
I mean, once you were able to, I don't know, like there's something with the audience, like it can give you the lowest of the low, but then the highest of the high.
Correct.
But then it's like, the high kind of disappears for a bit. It doesn't have that edge anymore. But then the lows still hit as a low.
Correct? Even the short drive home feels like a 3-hour drive.
Oh my god, yeah. And then it's worse if you feel it the next morning.
Oh yeah.
And then you're clocking to work and just like your boss started yelling at you. I was like, oh my god.
Could this game could get any worse?
Alright, I think that's our time.
Yeah.
Call up time. We're out of time for the call out
Yes.
time. That's James.
Yes. We're out of time.
I hate puns. At the same time, I love it so much. So yeah, do you have any shows you want to plug? I don't know when this is going to be out, so you have shows like 2-3 months.
Of course, there's one coming soon in February, on 23rd February. It's called the 3A Show. That's right, bunch of Chinese guys wearing glasses looking at each other. So there's myself, Daryl, Nicholas, and also Brian Tan.
Yeah.
It's happening at the Box PJ.
I can't wait for that show, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really want to come and watch. I mean, the box, it's okay. I don't want to go into it. So thank you so much, James.
Yeah.
If you want to follow him, follow on.
James Soo, which is JamesKLSOO.
Yeah, so he does puns there. So if you love puns, you know where to find him.
Yeah.
And you can follow me on Daniel Sham Comedy. This is Call Up Time. Good night.
Good night.